All right, everybody out there, good morning, good morning. Here is Cornelius Jones, and I am coming to you guys today with a video. And with this video, not going to be a long video at all, but I do want to have a topical discussion with those who are atheists and those for everyone out there who does not believe that any God exists or does not believe that God exists. I have a very direct question, and this is an argument that no atheist has ever heard before. You know, if you look at YouTube, you'll find, there's plenty of discussions, debates surrounding this question concerning the existence of God. And one of the main things one of the topics regarding this situation is talking about the evidence, right? Many atheists, well, all atheists, they do not believe that there is a sufficient amount of evidence, or any evidence at all for that matter, that supports the existence of God. Christians, on the contrary, they do believe that there's evidence that supports the existence of God. There are scientists out there who are Christians who have studied that evidence. However, atheists would disagree. Okay, so there's a big debate going back and forth about whether or not there's sufficient evidence and all of that. Well, I'd like to further the discussion by even asking this question. When it comes to creation, do you even need evidence? Do you need evidence to know that whether or not something was created? And of course, atheists will say, absolutely. It is foolish to believe in the existence of something blindly without having evidence or without looking into the evidence first. Well, I would like to ask a very, very simple question, because I would like with this video, my intention is to challenge the idea that you need evidence to believe in something. Okay, that's what I want to challenge. I want to challenge the idea: do you really need evidence, or is it possible to believe or know, and specifically know, that something was created without looking at the evidence first? Okay, so can you know it first and then look at the evidence? Is that possible? Is that reasonable? Well, I'd like to show you an argument with this question, with this illustration. Consider this. In our lifetime, if you were born in the, mid 80s, 90s, maybe at the latest, I'm 40 years old. So if you're 40 or older, then 100% sure, or maybe a little younger, you remember a time on our planet where there was no internet. The internet is one of the most life-changing inventions that totally revolutionized the way we live as human beings on this planet. And you all know that. But there was a time where the internet did not exist. There was a time where you had no prior knowledge, you had no prior experience with the internet. Okay? So if you are an atheist, I want you to go back to that time, if you can, to the very first time you ever used the internet, if you can remember that far. Okay? Now, you did not have prior knowledge about the internet the first time you used it. You did not have any prior anything, never experienced the internet before. However, from the first moment you used the internet, you knew that the internet was the product of a mind. You knew that its creation was, you knew it was a creation, is basically what I'm trying to say. Now, is there sufficient evidence that the internet had a creator? Absolutely. I mean, we don't even have to get into that. But the point is, even though yes, there was sufficient evidence, but did you need the evidence to know the internet had a creator? If I asked you right now, who created the internet? Who initially created the internet? I'm willing to bet that most of you would not be able to tell me. Now, you could easily figure that out. You could do some research. But if you're honest, When you first used the internet, you did not do an extensive research or study on who created it. All you knew inside your heart, all you knew in your mind was that it was created by someone. But you may not have known who. Now, you can't say that you had prior knowledge that helped you understand that the internet was created, because the first time you used it, you had no prior knowledge. And in your lifetime, there was a time where the internet did not exist. So you can't say prior knowledge. Prior knowledge does not count in this situation because you had none. Yet, you knew that the internet had a creator. My question is, why? Why did you know that? Before you looked at any evidence, before you did any research on who the creator was, without any prior knowledge with this thing, or any prior experience, you automatically knew that this invention had a creator. You knew that it was the product of a mind, as opposed to something similar to, like, maybe comparable to natural selection, where somehow, electrons, molecules just happen to form together in some amazing way, appropriately, and the internet formed all by itself. You know that's not the case with the internet. Now, of course, again, we know there is evidence for the internet. It doesn't matter. My point is not that whether or not there's evidence for the internet. My point is, you did not need the evidence to know the internet had a creator. The first time you used it, from that instant, you knew in your heart some person created it. It is the product of a mind. Now, if you tell me that the reason why you know the internet has a creator is because of evidence, you're not being honest. You're not being honest. You did not do an extensive research on who created the internet the first time you used it. And if you did, okay, well, you're one of the few. Okay? First time you used the internet, you used it. And you knew it was the product of a mind. You knew that innately in your heart. You knew that. Again, the question's why. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are atheists, I am showing you one example that I don't think you can deny. You used something, you had experience with something that before that day you had no prior understanding or knowledge, and you knew it had a creator without looking at the evidence, before you ever looked at any evidence. My question, again, is why? Why were you able to know that? Why? That's what I'd like you to answer. Why do you think you were able to know or reason in your heart that someone created the internet before you looked at any evidence? That's the question. And I'm going to leave it at that. If you would like to have discussions back and forth with me on this topic, I would love and appreciate what you have to say. We'll go back and forth a little bit. I would really be curious to know your thoughts on this. How is it that you're able to believe that something had a creator when you had no prior experience with it and you did not look at any evidence? The evidence was real, but you didn't look at it. You didn't need it. Why? That's my question. That's my argument. I don't think you need evidence to look at something, experience something, and know innately in your heart that it is the product of an intelligent mind. Now, who the creator was is irrelevant. We're not going to get into that. Not getting into that. First step, is there a creator for the internet? Of course it was. You knew it. Didn't need evidence for that. So if you didn't need evidence for the computer, does that mean that you know that something has a creator before you look at evidence? Well, if you didn't need evidence for the computer, I think the answer is yes. You don't need evidence to know innately in your heart that something is a creation. Again, let's stick on the internet. Why? Why did you know that? How? How did you know the internet was a product of a mind before you looked at evidence? That's my question. All right, so type your questions. Let's have a discussion. This is Cornelius Jones. I look forward to speaking with some of you very soon. I'm signing off. You have a great day.